This is my magic bucket of fun. I keep all of my gardening tools in here, and for most of my everyday tasks that I have to do, it has everything in it I need. Most of the items are not expensive, they're not unusual, and I'm going to show you in this video what you need for your own magic bucket of fun and how you use those tools. Here in this bucket is everything you're going to need for a basic gardening kit. I'm going to go through each item one by one. I'm going to show you how to use it. I'm going to tell you why it's important to have, and you'll just see how simple the tools are. As we go through this collection of tools, I'm going to also plant a 1-gallon lantana, very common nursery plant, and show you how we can use those tools to achieve everything we need to do. The very first thing about gardening, the most important tool is your own hand. And once you damage this, you're not going to be able to do any gardening. So for all of your gardening, the first thing to do is get out your gloves. These are a long gauntlet glove or a rose glove. I like it because my skin is getting thin and it tears really easily, but any really basic pair of gloves is going to do you. It's going to protect your skin, it's going to keep your hands clean, you'll spend less time cleaning up. Whether your garden is large or small, you're going to be needing to walk around and to carry some things. So the first thing you're going to do is get a bucket. I like this bucket because it holds my long-handled tools. It'll hold my small tools. I don't lose things because when I'm done using something, I drop it back in the bucket. When I'm done for the day, I put it wherever I store my bucket. When I need to start the next time, everything is all together. The second thing you need is one more bucket. What you're going to do with this bucket is you're going to throw everything in here. Whether you're pulling weeds, trimming trees, or harvesting lemons, you can just collect everything right in here. And if it's your green waste, you can just then walk it to your trash receptacle when you're done. Reaching into the magic bucket, the next thing we get, the hand cultivator. This is useful for so many things all day long. In the sample pictures, you'll see I've used it when I planted my lantana to pull away all of my mulch so that I would have it available to cover the plant after it has been planted. You can use it to loosen the dirt around a weed that you want to pull, especially if it's in softer soil. Also, when you're coming to working maybe in your vegetable beds or to plant flowers, you can use this to loosen up the soil and plant your seeds or mark your rows for where you're going to plant your seeds. Your next very basic tool is going to be a shovel. You're going to want to choose a spade-shaped shovel. This tool is the best for digging holes, and frankly, that's what the majority of your garden work is. The square-tipped shovel, or square-head shovel, is better for shoveling mass amounts of dirt or rock, which you may need to do sometimes, but it's not your basic chore. As far as the size of your shovel, mine is short-handled, because I'm short. I get best leverage out of this. If you want a long-handled shovel, then get what suits you. Next thing you're going to need in your tool orders is a piece of tarp. Anything will do. Mine is a feed bag. It works so great. You don't need to purchase this. You could use a garbage bag. You could use an old piece of sheet. With just these few tools, we planted the new lantana. I used the hand cultivator to clear the mulch. You'll see I used the shovel to dig the hole. I piled the dirt I dug up so that I could use it later. And then I used the shovel to break up the hard dirt clods. And when I was all done, I used the shovel to help guide the dug up soil back into the hole. And then I used the hand cultivator at the very end to put the bark back into place. This way, when I water my plant, the water will stay there and not evaporate. It will protect my plant's roots. You're probably thinking ahead of me and saying, hey, well, what about my other gardening tasks? There are other tools. You're going to need pruning shears. These are basic bypass shears. This is the type that you want to have. This is an anvil shears. This is not what you want. This, as you notice, the blade comes down bluntly. What that does is it crushes your plant stems. These are bypass. One blade bypasses the others, and so it cuts your plant cleanly. This leads to less tearing of your plant. Your plant can heal the cut more easily, and you'll have less disease problems. The shears are really one of the very most important gardening tools, and if there's any place in this collection you're going to make an investment, spend the most that you can on these. You're going to use these to cut anything up to about 1/2 inch. So for all of your vegetable gardening, for all of your ornamental flowers, for most of your ornamental bushes, this is the tool that you're going to be using. On a typical gardening day when I'm wandering around, I also use nippers. These are just the best little guys. They're really inexpensive and they just make work so much easier. They make it play. And they're really great for deadheading. Deadheading is when you remove dead flowers or spent flowers from your ornamentals. They're very good for harvesting. My tomato plants will tend to tear if you just pop the tomato off, but if you nip it off, you won't tear your plant. Another super good task for your nippers is if you need to thin the fruit on your trees. This is especially important for things that have a tougher stem, like apples and pears. Their stems are so tough, if you just try to pull one piece off, you're probably going to lose the entire cluster. And to help you out with that, we have a video about how to thin fruit, and it's in the link in the caption below. Reaching into my bucket, I have the trowel, another real workhorse of the garden. I think I've had this one 25 or 30 years. You're going to use this so very, very much. You're going to use it to dig up small plants. You're going to use it when you go to plant anything from a 6-pack, a 4-inch. If you have great soil, maybe even a gallon plant. You can use the edge to help cut open roots. You use the tip to dig holes. If you have a smaller weed, you can loosen the weed before you pull it. It will help you to get more of the roots. Just keep it in your bucket at hand. You're going to use it all day long. Another important thing to do when you're gardening is to sanitize your tools. Everything that has a cutting blade, you're going to want to sanitize. So here in the magic bucket is my spray bottle. Just a basic bottle you can buy at any big box store. You want to keep a solution here that's 10% bleach, 90% water. So just look at the math on your bottle, see what size it is. That is the most accepted and safest way to do it. And the way you use it is simply to do this. Let the bleach run off, and you're done. It's really important to sanitize your tools between every bush you cut. This helps to not spread disease between your plants. Also, it's really super important on your fruit trees, and it only takes that long and you're done. The last tool, and all of these are so important, this is the weed digger. Very, very cheap tool, very, very practical. You'll use it all the time. It's useful for loosening a weed before you pull it out. If you just pull a weed so often, you snap the top off and all those roots stay underground and they grow so well. So you'll want to get down next to the root and pull it up and then put it in your bucket. What I've just gone over is the basics of what you need. You can do all of your gardening with that, pretty much all of your gardening. But this is a treat that I cannot endorse enough. It is a knee pad, super cheap, fits in the bucket, put it under your knees will thank you. The other tool is a soil fork. This is more of an indulgence. For me, I'm not very strong. I find it helps a lot when I need to get a plant out. When you use the soil fork, instead of bringing up a heavy shovel full of dirt, you tend to just get your plant. So for me, it works well. But again, this is an option. But wait, there's more. You say, my garden has some really big plants. I've got fruit trees. Then you're gonna need loppers. Basic, it's a bypass blade, like we talked about having for your shears. The long handle, it gives you leverage. You're gonna use this for things that are over 1/2 inch. And the last tool, the least likely to be needed, I didn't have one of these for years, is a handsaw. They're great for getting a branch of say 1 inch or bigger. Or if you have a dead branch, they're a lot harder to cut and you can saw through it. I'm not very strong. I'm not very good with this. It's my last resort. A really good choice is to find a stronger friend who can do it for you. This is it, your entire basic gardening kit. You're gonna need 2 buckets, gloves, always the gloves, a spade-tipped shovel, a hand cultivator, shears with the bypass action, a pair of nippers, a hand trowel, a weed digging tool, the tarp, the cheap, free, use it all day piece, and 10% bleach solution. 2 additional add-ons for your basic gardening kit. You might want a knee pad. And the indulgence would be the soil fork, but not everyone likes it or needs it. And if you have larger plants in your garden, then you are going to need some bigger, heavier duty things. You're going to want loppers, again, with the bypass, and you're going to want a hand saw. Thank you for watching. We are the Master Gardeners of San Luis Obispo County. We are here to help you with all of your recreational gardening needs. You can reach us by sending an email to the contact information in the box below. Have a great day.